close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am here with What If Deku Was a Demogorgon? Part 1. So, I'm very sorry for not posting. It's just I've been on a little break, I guess you could say, and I've just been really lazy and haven't been really wanting to post. So I'm very sorry for that. And also, I am extremely sorry for my sloppy behavior when it comes down to my series and not replying to your guys' comments. I'll get to the comment part after this. So, in order to fix that, I am going to be putting a like goal on all these videos. If you can get this video to 60 likes within the next week, I will post part 2 to this video within a day of it hitting the like goal. So, and about the comments, I know that I do not respond to your guys' comments as much as I wish I did. But that's why I always tell you guys will get a 90% chance to get to talk with me if you guys go and join the Discord. I will make sure to put a link in the description for you guys. So I am very sorry if I do not reply to your comment or I don't heart your comment. It's just, I don't check, I do check the comments, but I just don't reply. So if you want at least a 90% chance of me responding, go over to the Discord. Link will be in the description. It's free. And don't worry, I have moderators 24/7 on my Discord, making sure that there's no creeps on it. We do have some very hardcore memers, though. So they might post some dark memes every once in a while. But do not be threatened. We have a very nice community over on Discord. So if you want a 90% chance of getting to talk with me, I would recommend going over to my Discord. Link will be in the description. And I kind of feel bad for my thumbnail editor. Because, if we're going to be doing this, he's going to have a lot of thumbnails. Because I know you guys can do it. So, if you guys want to see those parts rolling out, hit the like button and subscribe. And while you're at it, burn the bell icon at the stake, because the bell icon is a witch, and it always notifies you when I post a new video. So make sure you burn it at the stake. So yeah, let's go ahead and get on with this video, shall we? Let me go and get some water real quick. Alright, I got my water, so let's start this. So we are going to start when Deku is 4 years old. And he is super excited to go to the quirk doctor. He's just jumping up and down in his seat. And his mom's like, Izuku-chan, you have to sit down. We're gonna be there any moment now. But Deku just cannot hold in his excitement. And he just goes, Eee! As he's just sitting there with his All Might toy, ready to find out what his quirk is. He's kind of, he's questioning why he hasn't been able to use his quirk yet, but he's just thinking, hey, he's a late bloomer, and when he gets there, the quirk doctor is going to find out whether his quirk is a good one or not. But he's just excited with any quirk, even if it's his mom's. But he knows that his mom has a pretty good quirk. So he's just jumping up and down in his seat, and then they arrive, and Deku starts just trying to break out of his car seat. Like, he's just sitting there trying to pull the thing off, and Inko's like, hold on, dang, I'm coming over there. And she gets out of the car and heads over to Deku's door and opens it. As she goes to Deku's car seat and unbuckles it. And Deku immediately jumps out of the car, and Inko's kind of frightened by this, and she drops to the ground and starts laughing. As Deku says, "Don't worry, I am here," as he starts running to the hospital. Inko just kind of chuckles as she gets back up and starts running to catch up with them. So Deku gets to the, check-in area, and the lady's like, where's your mom, sweetie? And Izuku's like, she's coming. I can't wait. And she's like, aw, man, aren't you just the cutest thing I've ever seen? As she gives him a lollipop and says, don't worry, I'm sure your quirk's gonna be awesome, as she rubs his head. As Inko walks in exhausted, man, I didn't know you were so fast, Izuku. As she says, kids can be quite rough when they're 4 years old, huh? And then Inko says, worse than teenage years. As she signs Izuku in. So Deku goes into the waiting room and he's just playing with the toys as Kacchan walks in with his mom to find out what his quirk is. Kacchan already knows what his quirk is because it manifested before they even got there. So he walks into the waiting room with that Izuku was already sitting in, and Kacchan says, Izuku, look at my quirk, as he starts using his explosions. As Izuku says, wow, your quirk is so awesome, Kacchan. I can't wait to find out what my quirk is going to be. I know it's going to be just as good. As Kacchan says, I sure hope so. And then the doctor calls out, Izuku Midoriya? As Inko calls Izuku. And Izuku just, he immediately gets up and says, okay, Kacchan, I'm going to go find out what my quirk is. As he runs out of the waiting room. And just runs past the doctor as he's just so excited. The doctor's like, they're always super excited, huh? As Inko says, yeah, I didn't expect this from him. I mean, I knew he'd be excited, but... As she scratches her head and says, I knew he'd be excited, but oh man, this is... Ooh, I'm gonna need a cup of coffee after this. As the quirk doctor gets in the room and Deku's already sitting up there waiting to find out what his quirk is as Inko sits down. So the quirk doctor is looking at the x-rays and his smile turns into a frown as he turns to Izuku and says, I'm so sorry, kid, but you don't have a quirk. As Deku's big, large smile slowly fades until he says, what? As he drops his toy. As he tries to smile like All Might would. He can't help a tear roll down his face. As Inko says, there must be something wrong. He must have a quirk. Both me and my husband have quirks. He should have a quirk. As the quirk doctor says, yeah, but unfortunately, he doesn't have a quirk. As Inko immediately remembers a conversation she had with her abusive husband not too long ago. As she walks in on her husband drinking again, watching an American football game. as he turns to her and says, "That boy better have a good cork. I can't stand watching corkless people. Ugh, they disgust me." As he takes another sip from his beer and throws it on the ground and gets up and says, as he grabs her neck and pins her against the wall and says, "You better have given my boy a cork, or I'll kill you. I'll gut you like a pig. Just like you are, huh? You're a little pig, aren't you?" As he throws her onto the ground and says, "You better have given that boy a gosh darn cork." As he goes back to his chair and sits down and pulls the recliner out and grabs another beer, pops the lid off, and starts chugging it. Inko immediately starts crying. She doesn't bawl, she just starts crying with her eyes open. She just is sitting there with a blank expression, knowing what's going to happen to her and Deku. To a drunken, raged father. She levitates Deku's toy back to him and says, "Well, thank you, Doctor," as she grabs Deku and starts walking him out. So when Deku and Inko get home, she immediately sends Deku to his room and tells him to lock the door. As she walks up to her husband, who is drunken and passed out, as she shakes him awake, as he bolts up and says, "That boy better have a cork or I'll gut you like a pig." Huh. As Inko says, he doesn't have a cork. As this knocks him out of his drunken state, as he sits up and says, "What did you just say?" As she says, he doesn't have a cork. As he stands up and says, "Say it again, woman! But louder. I want to be able to hear it." As she says, "He doesn't have a cork." As he says, "Yeah, that's what I thought I heard you say. Useless woman." As he slaps her onto the ground so hard that her nose starts bleeding from it. As she holds her nose, and he grabs her by the face and throws her into a wall and says, "You're useless! All you had to do was give our son a cork! You're useless! I'm gonna cut you like a pig and serve you for dinner!" He throws her onto the ground and kicks her in the stomach and grabs her by the hair and slams her head into a door as she drops to the ground bleeding. He says, "You're useless. All I needed you to do was give a simple boy a simple cork. But you couldn't even do that, could you? He's a waste of sperm now. I should have just pulled out when I had the chance. But no, you insisted. You told me he would have a great cork, a mix between our corks. But no, he has no cork, you useless lesbian scum." As he puts his foot on her head and starts putting more and more weight on it, as he lifts it up and kicks her, and as he grabs her by the hair and then slams her head on the table. As she's just writhing in pain, Deku comes out to hear what all the commotion is about. As he sees his dad beating the crap out of Inko, he says, "No, stop, please. Please stop. Don't do this to her. Not now. Please don't." As Deku's dad sees him, he looks over at him and says, "And what are you gonna do about it, you little crybaby? You're a useless waste of sperm. After I kill your mom, I'm gonna kill you next." As she grabs Deku's dad by the leg and says, "Please, leave him out of this." As Deku notices a tooth is gone. As Deku's dad kicks her into the table as she passes out, as he says, "Since you interfered and touched me with your useless hands, I'm gonna kill him first." As he stands up and starts walking towards Deku, as with the strongest slap he can muster up, he slaps Deku across the face, dropping him onto the ground, knocked out. Then he heads back over to Inko. As Inko wakes up to see Deku's dad slap him and knocking Deku out, she slowly gets up and tries to fight back, but Deku's dad punches her onto the ground. As Deku slowly opens his eyes to see Deku's dad putting a knife to Inko's throat. As he's about to slit it, Deku smells the blood. As Deku's eyes turn red. As Deku starts seizuring out, his arms moving in unnatural ways, bending out of proportion, enlarging. He's having a seizure then and there. As Deku's dad stops what he's doing to look at Deku, as Inko does the same. As Deku breaks his arms, as Deku's dad hears the of Deku's arms, as he's just flailing around. As Deku's dad says, "What? What are you doing, huh? Are you having a seizure? How pathetic! Waste of sperm! Let me go ahead and kill you first and put you out of your gosh dang misery." As he walks up to Deku, about to stab him, Deku's skin starts turning pale as Deku's head starts to mold, and Deku's eyes get just sucked into his body as his mouth just disappears, as his head starts to turn into some kind of flower before it blooms, as Deku grows these large nails that could probably cut through metal. As Deku starts growing, as Deku's dad says, "What? Did you hit puberty? It's pathetic. It's a pathetic display." As Deku stands up, as he's still twitching, Deku smells the blood again, and he opens his mouth to let out an ear-deafening scream. As Deku's dad says, "What the crap was that?" It was like a little baby tiger roaring. Rawr, rawr. So scary. As Deku's mouth opens to unravel, to just show off thousands of teeth. As Deku's dad takes a step back and says, "What the bang?" As Deku gets closer, Deku's just towering above his father. He clamps down on his father's head, as he starts shaking his head violently, like dogs do when they have a chew toy, till eventually he rips his father's head off and starts swallowing it. as he sees his mom crying as she walks up to him to try and give him a hug. He scratches her across the face with his nails and then bites her in the throat, or on the throat, just shaking his head violently till he pulls a large piece of her neck off. She tries to cover up the wound, but she starts bleeding out. And having trouble breathing, she says, "I love you, Zuko," as she drops to the ground, dead. As Deku starts making a weird noise. As he starts looking around, as he goes to feast on the remaining bodies. Then Deku hears a knock at the door, which causes him to scamper and jump out of a window. Deku starts running to this playground where he hides in the nearby forest till eventually Bakugo and his goons start bullying a little kid at the playground. They're talking about how useless he is because of his quirk, and then Deku transforms back into a boy. He walks up to Bakugo and says, "Your quirk is useless, Bakugo. You'll never be any better than me. You want to know why? Follow me." As he turns around to start walking out, Bakugo says, "What'd you just say to me?" I'll deal with you later." Deku turns around with his eyes red. "Okay, see you later then." As Deku disappears into the forest. And for 4 years, Deku would live in that forest till he was 8 years old. So one day, Bakugo's at the park, and he's looking at an old missing persons picture, and he's just wondering, where did Deku go? As he sees in the tree line Deku sitting there with old stretched out clothes, jeans with holes in them. As he's just looking at Bakugo, he waves and then motions for him to come into the forest. Bakugo, not realizing it's a trap, gets his goons and runs into the forest. They start chasing Deku when all of a sudden, when they're deep into the forest, Deku disappears. Bakugo asks his goons, "Where did he go? He didn't escape, did he? Deku, where are you? This isn't funny. You've been gone for 8 years. Where'd you go?" As Deku walks up behind them and says, "I didn't go anywhere." As he transforms into the demogorgon, looking at them, Bakugo sees his entire life flash before his eyes as him and his goons are devoured. And Deku grabs whatever's left of their bodies and starts dragging them. Till eventually, he sees a weird tree. He's never seen a tree like this. As he uses his claws to open up a loose branch so he could see what's inside. When he realizes it's made out of this weird gooey stuff, and it's just more trees in this weird snowy place. doesn't know what it is, but he decides to take Bakugo's body inside with him. When he gets in, he realizes it's just a mirror dimension of some sorts. It's like the real world, but different in some way. As he decides to feast on Bakugo's body in there. So, eventually the police would start to notice that there's a lot of people going missing in those forests, or in that forest. And a lot of them are kids from the playground. And they start to get really suspicious of if someone is just abducting kids or what's going on. And All Might thinks it's a plot from All for One. So he heads to the forest, or he heads to the playground for an investigation purposes. So he's just watching the playground and he sees a little boy playing on a playset. And then he sees another little boy in the tree line. And he's wondering why there's a kid in the tree line. And he wonders if it's a missing kid. So he starts going through all of his new missing persons, and he doesn't see that kid. Then he realizes both kids are gone. As he sees the outline of the backpack of the kid that was just playing go into the forest. And immediately All Might springs into action, launching towards the forest. Deku sensing that something's coming at him at high speeds. Deku immediately turns into the demogorgon and scratches the kid's eyes as he jumps into a tree and starts bouncing from tree limbs. All Might gets there and he sees the kid on the ground, or on his knees, screaming in agony as he flips the kid over, or turns the kid around to see that his eyes have been completely scratched out, and he's starting to bleed out. All Might immediately calls an ambulance as he sees the sight of Deku running away. After he called the ambulance and gave the address, he jumps into action, following Deku, as Deku realizes that All Might's way too fast to lose. So he immediately jumps to the tree that is basically the portal to this dimension, and he quickly ducks inside. Deku, realizing this would be a perfect opportunity to grab the neck of All Might, who will most likely enter the portal. All Might didn't see where Deku went, so he stops his pursuit and lands on the ground and starts looking around. And he doesn't see anything. He's just looking and he doesn't see anything. Then he heard a scream as he sees the kid that Deku had to scratch out his eyes being dragged inside of the portal. Deku had went back for his prey because, well, Deku is now a predator, not prey. So he doesn't give up on his hunt for no reason at all. So Deku drags the kid inside as All Might sees it. All Might jumps into action as he tries to get into the portal, but the bark just closes up. As All Might tries to punch it in, when All Might eventually punches it open, it's just a normal tree. There's nothing in it. As All Might falls onto his knees, as he starts to cry, knowing he let All for One get another kid. But then he realizes this person didn't look like All for One at all. Maybe a henchman? No, this person thing was way too animal-like. This wasn't targeted, was it? So, after this, Deku would leave back into the outside world and he would drop to his knees and start crying, bawling. He doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know why it happened. As he starts to scratch himself, asking, "Why me? Why did this have to happen to me? I'm not a villain, am I? I'm a villain. I've killed people. I'm a villain. I'm a villain. I'm a villain. I've eaten people. My mom. I killed her. As Deku starts to go insane and starts pulling his hair out and eating his hair. As he says, yeah, I've killed someone. As he starts to twitch out and scratching his face. Why me? Why me? As a man in a black suit walks up, and Deku looks at him and starts backing up and saying, "Don't come any closer. I'll kill you like I did those kids. I'll kill you. Please back up. As the black man says, "No, I'm the black suited man." Says, "Don't worry. I won't hurt you. I have no fear of you. I would like you to join me. I will make sure no one fears you again. I will turn that power of yours into something great. Please, lend me your power." As Deku says, what do you mean by lend you my power? As he says, well, I want you to join me. You won't ever be feared again or discriminated again. Please, join me. I can turn that power of yours into something great. Something people won't fear, but will be happy to be in your presence. As Deku says, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Yeah. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where I'm going to leave this off. I hope you guys did enjoy, and remember, 60 likes, and I will post a part 2. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, and burn the bell icon at the stake, because the bell icon is a witch, because it notifies you when I post a new video. So yeah, peace out.